Let's go ahead and downshift a little bit. We're in second gear. Oh, let's go. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. 7,000 RPM red line. This car loves to go. Hey guys, welcome to another video. Right behind me is a 2009 G37 with almost 170,000 miles. In this video, I want to answer one question. Should you buy a G37 in 2025? The car at this point is almost 16 years old, but we're going to talk about the exterior, the interior, and also the performance as a car enthusiast, what you can get with this platform. So I'm going to cover all the great things about this car, like the powertrain, some of the premium features that this offers, despite being almost 16 years old. But of course, we're also going to discuss some of the drawbacks of the car as well, so you can make an informed decision if it's worth getting a G37 in 2025. All right, so we're going to start off with the exterior first, and we're going to talk about the interior, then take it out on the road, talk about the performance, the suspension, and everything in between. Believe me, the driving dynamics of this car still surprise me to this day. So this is the pre-refresh model G37. As you can tell by the grille and the headlights, you do get sleeker grille and the headlights on the refresh model. But I have to say, despite this car being 16 years old, it looks pretty clean for what it is. This one has the sport package, which means it's got the bigger wheel, which obviously adds to the appearance of this G37. Other than that, looks are pretty subjective, so I'm not gonna spend too much time. I still think this car has aged pretty well for its age. I mean, it's 16 years old, so you're not gonna expect, like, this one's got yellow headlights, which can be an easy fix. The wheels, the black on black look, the wheels, but yeah, the looks are pretty subjective, so I'm not gonna get too much into detail. Me personally, I think this car has aged really well, and it helps. Obviously, this one has the sport wheels, because this is the sport model. If you can get the sport model, I highly recommend that, because it does come with the paddle shifters as well, which actually makes this car very fun to drive. We'll touch on that when we go and take out the car on the road. Here's a quick side profile for you guys in terms of how the car sits. It's not lowered or anything, it's in stock suspension, but it still has a really good appearance. I love the profile. You could get a chrome delete, which is one of the really common mods on this car to really have the blacked out appearance. And even from the rear, I think rear has aged better than the front, I would say. This is the sport model, the all-wheel drive sport model, but yeah, the rear looks really good. I like the chrome, and honestly, I'm a huge fan of this look. You really can't tell when you see this car on the road that this is a pretty old car. But yeah, to me, this car aged really well. The car looks really good. But let's hop into the interior of the car and talk about some of the features and everything that this G37 has, and also how the interior has held up in 100 and almost 70,000 miles we have on this car. So here is the interior on the G37. Really good materials, soft padding everywhere. You've got leather, you've got even memory seats over here, Bose speakers, as you can see here. No hard plastic really, unless you're talking about the bottom here. Other than that, very good materials, and you can see the interior has held up really well. There's no peeling or bubbling or anything like that. And this is what the overall interior looks like, which to me, I think it looks pretty good. This is what the interior looks like on the G37. As you can see, it has a couple scuff marks here. This is one of the common issues with these earlier models, where the paint around the steering wheel starts fading. You can easily fix it up by getting some aftermarket paint. You really don't notice it, and of course, you can find a cleaner example that doesn't have this issue. This one has 170,000 miles, so you can start seeing the paint is peeling off. Other than that, the interior is pretty good. There's no cracking of the dashboard or anything like that. No peeling on the buttons or anything. Everything looks very clean. It comes with the 7-speed automatic transmission. It's got pedal shifters because it's the sport model. You also got the heated seats, snow mode, and everything. I mean, the interior on this car for its age is really good. It's got navigation as well, dual climate control, and a really classy look with this clock over here as well. The only giveaway for this interior being very dated is actually the screen. Screen is your typical LCD, and I should just turn on the car. You can barely see it, so you can see my reflection here too. But even at night, it's not the most crisp screen, or not HD quality or anything like that. But if you're driving in daylight, the reflection is so bad that you can barely make anything out of it. So even if you go to the menu, you can barely read stuff. So that's one of the downsides, and a very easy giveaway that this car is a little bit older. But you don't buy this car for the interior, despite the interior being pretty good for what it is, like the soft touch material, the paddle shifters, and some of the features too, like the memory seating. The seats and steering wheel also moves when you leave the car. So if I turn it off right now, You can see the seat is going back. You can also make the steering wheel to also adjust to your position when you unlock the car. It's got pretty usable back seats as well. Very comfortable leather seats, of course. And you've got vents here as well in the back. This is what you get with the full interior view, as you can see from here. The materials and everything, I really like the silver that kind of goes across pretty much from the door panel to door panel, and how it all kind of comes together in the middle over there. So the main reason you're probably considering getting a G37 is for its power plant, and it has the 7-speed automatic transmission that can be manually shifted using paddle shifters, but it has also the 3.7 liter V6 motor making almost 330 horsepower. It's the same engine that's found in 370Z, and not only is it reliable, it is pretty fun to drive. But enough about the interior and the exterior of the car, because those are subjective, and depending on what car you're coming from, you might find it a downgrade or an upgrade. So I'll leave that up to you to make that judgment call in terms of whether the interior features are adequate for you and how the exterior really holds up. Of course, you can do some appearance mods to really spice up the exterior, but to me, I think even without any mods, the exterior has held up really well. But let's talk about why you are probably choosing this car, and that is going to be the engine and transmission. Most importantly, the engine. So let's talk about the engine. This is the 3.7 liter V6 engine making 328 horsepower, and this car is very, very fun to drive. The V6 engine loves to rev and has a red line of almost 7,000 RPM, and honestly, this car is pretty quick for the streets. It will do 0 to 60 in about 5 seconds with the all-wheel drive version. It does not have launch control, but if you're just having fun on the streets, it really moves. And I think driving this car, I have a Mustang GT as well, so of course that's a lot more powerful, but I never feel like when I get in this car that on the street that I'm missing the power. You get on it, it's pretty responsive and just goes. The engine is also, of course, very reliable, so not only does it make so much power, 328 horsepower from this car, but it also holds up pretty well. Like I said, this car has almost 170,000 miles, and it just keeps going on and on. You can also mod the 3.7 liter if you want a little bit more power. You could probably get the intake, exhaust, and a tune. And you'll probably get 30 horsepower or so at the wheels. So that is also pretty good if you're into modifying it. But honestly, the stock power levels on this car for a street-driven car is pretty impressive. Now, one thing you may have heard is the 7-speed transmission. Everyone craps about them on internet saying the 7-speed is slow to shift and it's not as fast, and that is true. And that is true if you're comparing to the ZF8 or the 10-speed transmissions in the Mustangs and Camaros. But if you're coming from a regular 6-speed or even 8-speed automatic, this is plenty enough. And if you have the one with the paddle shifters, like if you get the G37 with the sport model and has the paddle shifters, it's going to be insanely fun to drive and you'll really enjoy this car. Paddle shifters, in my opinion, takes this car to a whole new level in terms of enjoying this. And I mean, not to mention, these have depreciated so much where you can pick them up for relatively cheap, and these cars are reliable, they're fun to drive. What else do you want for the price range? As long as you go in and not expecting like a ZF8 or a 10-speed transmission response time, you'll be more than satisfied with the car. You have to remember, on the internet, everyone talks about this 1,000 horsepower cars, 800 horsepower cars. So while this won't get you any street cred, this is still pretty respectable and will make your commutes and just running around areas very fun in this 328 horsepower G37. The suspension itself is very good. It's very composed through the corners and everything. If you do get only the S model, not the XS, then you actually get some of the hand-me-downs from the 370Z in terms of suspension, and it's going to be a lot more sportier than what you get with the XS. XS is basically a sporty all-wheel drive. It's more of an appearance pack than a suspension or braking upgrade. So what do I think? Should you get a G37 in 2025? I think I would have to say, given the value of these cars, how much they've depreciated, and the value and the fun factor it offers, I would 100% go with it. Yes, it doesn't have turbos. Yes, it doesn't have a very quick shifting automatic transmission. But for the price that you can get these, especially if you're getting for non-sport model, you can pick them up for 6-7 grand easily for a clean, low-mile example. I don't think there's many cars that are coming in that price range with 300 plus horsepower and that can do it reliably. This, of course, comes in a sedan and a coupe version. I have the sedan, but even if you'll consider the coupe version, which will be slightly more expensive than the sedan, but still have the same benefits that this will get. Of course, you'll have a little bit more sportier ride in the coupe version. So I would 100% recommend you pick up this G35 in 2025. Is the value for the amount of money you have to spend on this car, and the fun factor is absolutely unmatched currently. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. Comment below if you're currently in the market for G37 and which one you're personally wanting to go with, the sport model or the non-sport model. And I'll catch you guys on the next video.